Hey everybody, welcome to How I Play Now's episode 4. Today we're talking about demons and Cybermen when we're going to be starting off with Devil May Cry and going into Crysis 3. For people who don't know, Devil May Cry is the story of Dante, who is always constantly fighting both demons and sometimes angels, but we're taking this character to a completely different reboot from what you knew back in the day. Now, if you played the old Devil May Cry games, then the game mechanics are really going to speak to you. I played Devil May Cry 4 before, and this game definitely feels much more fluid with its controls. When you're actually going into combos, it doesn't feel like you're necessarily so much trying so hard. You actually can flow combos really quickly. The game still has a lot of that combo and chain attacks. You definitely have a whole plethora of different types of melee weapons and guns that you can take them out with. You also have a lot of platforming that you do in the game, which is very indicative of Devil May Cry games. Definitely the biggest difference on this one happens to be definitely the storyline. They completely rebooted Dante, making him more younger, a bit more crass, a bit more attitude. They definitely taken away his knowledge of his world and kind of brought you into unfolding for him what it is that he is and what he's dealing with in the world. It's a very awesome game as far as going around. If you're one of those people who love the Devil May Cry games when it comes to doing the chain combos and getting those high stats, this game is definitely for you. However, I'd say for me, and again, let me point out, I'm an old gamer, so I played the old Devil May Cry games, and with this reboot, I definitely did not like the story as much. I don't necessarily like who Dante is. There's a lot of loopholes in the storyline itself that just don't make sense to me. And, for me, I'm all about story in games. So while definitely the mechanics are there from the old games and definitely feel really good and can be something that's quite addictive, for me, story is a huge part of that thing. So I'm going to say half the mechanics, really, really great. Storyline, it's not for me. This was definitely rebooted for younger people. So honestly, you might, if you are a younger person, you probably will get into this type of character and what you do with him. But for me, I don't really like who Dante has become. There definitely is a part where you're actually using a power gauge, and once you actually fill that power gauge and you use it, you will end up actually turning into old Dante and using some very high-powered punches and maneuvers. But honestly, I'm going to have to say the game just definitely isn't for me. I don't think I'm going to be playing it anymore. I mean, it was fun doing the whole chained combos and mechanics of that type and doing all the platforming and running around in a very beautiful world. But for me, the story is really what's got to make it, and I'm just not invested into this story, probably because, yes, I'm an old Devil May Cry fan. So take that for what you're worth, and hey, if you want to, check the game out. And the next game I want to talk about is Crysis 3. And Crysis 3 is definitely taking place just shortly after Crysis 2. You come into a world where the military has definitely overrun the world. You're trying to basically work with a small group of rebels that used to be part of the part of the system you were, and you're trying to basically free the people and breed down the military. That part of the game is really, really fun. I love actually fighting all the different military guys. There's definitely a lot of strategy that goes into fighting them. But then, you start getting the aliens that come out, and I have to tell you that's really where this game shuts me down. The aliens are a lot like, if you ever played Halo, they're a lot like the Flood. I mean, it just basically, you're changing the mechanics of how you fight. When you're fighting military, it's more like stealth, strategy fights, whereas the aliens just kind of seem to run at you and, come at you and run and gun and slash and swipe. And, that's just how they kind of balance out the armor versus stealth ability. It seems that you're using stealth more for military, and you're definitely using armor when you're going up against aliens. While the game looks incredibly beautiful, the gun mechanics work incredibly well. I find it very passé to play this game just because it's that switch off. It's like, okay, military, I gotta hide. Okay, aliens, I gotta be armored up. And it just doesn't sell me that well. I mean, maybe a lot of you people out there, especially die-hard Crysis fans, will probably love the game. I, played a lot of 2 and played some of 3, and, it was always kind of just rather passé to me. I'm kind of done with the whole different factions that act. One is just the strategy type, the other one is just almost the zombie type that's running and clawing at you. So for me, this game is definitely a renter. You know, if you like shooters and you like that kind of different balance to a game, definitely pick it up. But for me, I just wasn't impressed. I mean, really, it just to me was just another clone of Crysis 2. So I'm going to just leave it at that. And I'm glad you guys come out, check out my videos. Remember to thumb me, remember to leave comments, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. And until next time, see ya.